Hi everyone, welcome to John's Briefs with defense attorney extraordinaire Tim Forshee. He's not a specialist, as you learned on a previous video, but he's really good at self-defense law and firearms. And so his mama also says he's special. And so we had a video on the channel recently out of Louisiana of a fine, upstanding citizen who shot his AK. He forgot what Ice Cube said, that it's only a good day if you don't have to shoot your AK.
He just took the words out of my mouth. Can you believe he's quoting Ice Cube? I mean, the guy's a font. He's a font.
And so he forgot about that. A couple dudes out front stealing his, breaking into cars. So he starts winging shots at him with the commie blaster and then ends up facing attempted murder charges. I want to talk to the attorney about that. Firearms Legal Protection is who I trust to help me after a use of force incident. If you're a Firearms Legal Protection member, I will also be on your team as a consulting expert, and you can attend our monthly active self-protection training seminars for free. Check out all they offer to their members at the link below. We always get pushback, Tim, when we go, hey, wait a minute, you shouldn't be shooting at people who are stealing things that are just, this is just a property crime.
Right.
And people are like, well, dang it, I should be able to defend my property with deadly force.
Well, you can't legally. There's very few black and whites in firearms law. One of them is you can never use lethal force for a purely property-only crime. You can't do it, black and white. So you can't. The statute says that. The case law says that. Every judge, every prosecutor, every jury is going to agree with that. You can't do it. They used to have the whole thing, well, the defense that people said they had in Texas, the bastard needed killing. I might be able to convince a jury of that, but the law's never going to say that. It's just not. So you're not allowed to do it.
Well, and even in the old country, I know I get this from time to time. People say, you know what? It used to be you stole a man's horse and you kill a man for stealing your horse. Well, now that's in the time in the Old West when if you stole someone's horse, that was a death sentence to them.
And you all took a bride when she was 15.
Yeah, well,
times have changed. But
I think even more, if you stole someone's horse and you're out in the middle of nowhere on the prairie,
that could be a death sentence.
It's a death sentence. And so, you are actually defending your life at that point, not the case anymore. And so because of that, that's a different standard. So don't do that.
And let's say you do. Let's say you're ignorant to the law or you don't care. You might very well find yourself in a gunfight now, right? The guy might start shooting back. Now, is that car that you were fighting for worth your life? Maybe you feel it's worth his life. Is it worth your life? And I always tell people, if I kiss it goodnight and tell it I love it, I'm willing to kill or die for it. So that's my wife, my daughters, and probably right now one of my 2 Labrador Retrievers, not the other one because he got into my closet this morning. But that said, if it's someone, then I will certainly defend it with my life with lethal force. If it's something, I will not. And my truck's insured, right? Most people's truck's insured. So what's your deductible? $500, $250, $1,000? So if I put $1,000 on the driveway and I say, hey, go out there and get in a gunfight, and if you win the gunfight, you can have that $1,000. Because that's what you're really saying here. Well, so, you get a new car, it's State Farm's problem. What are you doing?
Even if you don't get that, okay, let's just say you keep the car and dude jumps in your car and you wing a bunch of shots at him and you hit him and you kill him.
Yeah.
How much is it going to cost you to clean his brains out of your car?
Well, not only that, but you're going to get prosecuted. How much is it going to cost you to hire a lawyer?
Well, okay, let's just say it's the most righteous thing ever.
Okay.
And, the prosecutor looks the other way because he needed killing.
Okay.
Well, now, again, either you're going to drive around with that dude's brains in your car, which sounds gross,
and
right?
People never talk about that, but it's an issue. Yeah.
Or you're going to hire the wolf man to come and help you clean your car out.
Winston Wolf.
Winston Wolf. Problems. That's right. I solve problems. Dated pop culture reference. And then how much is that going to cost you? And to fix your vehicle up. And is that worth, again, your insurance company's deductible problem?
And that sort of presupposes that you're not going to have 1,000 sleepless nights.
Yeah.
It's just why would you do that?
So it's stupid on a high level.
Completely stupid.
Now then, Mr. Defense Attorney, let's just say we turn it around a little bit, and this was a more righteous defensive use of deadly force.
So there's somebody in the car?
Yeah. So a loved one in the that's in the vehicle, or let's just say they did have some stolen guns in the car.
So my fear is that I guess that would still be a property-only crime. It allows me to make an argument that the guns could be used illegally, but still a property-only crime.
So let's say, I guess my first question is, if you're defending this guy, you may or may not have some discovery from the prosecutor, and as you go, hey man, well wait a minute, okay, so you shot at those guys. Would you ever ask something like them? Is it okay for the attorney to ask? Did you see the fact that they had guns? Or can you ask a question like that to your client?
Sure. Yeah, of course you can. And I mean, again, I can't, if my client's lying, I can't allow that.
That would be suborning perjury.
That's suborning perjury, and I can't do that. The attorney-client privilege does not cover that. So when I interview people during that first interview after a case like this, I got to be kind of careful with the questions I ask. So I kind of give a disclaimer beforehand. You know, anything you say today is privilege. I cannot reveal it to anyone else.
Right.
However, if you later contradict what you're telling me today, and I believe that that's a lie, I am required to withdraw from your case and notify the opposing party and the court why I'm withdrawing from the case. So I basically have to tell them that you're lying.
Right.
So don't do that, right? And that, frankly, that doesn't usually pose many problems in my practice, but I know lawyers that's posed huge problems for. So, and that's, you know, if you're going to perjure yourself, basically I'm required to tell everybody in the courtroom except for the jury that you're perjuring yourself.
Right.
That doesn't help your case.
And
so you can't do that. So, but can I ask a question? Sir, at any point, were you certain that they were not armed? Oh no, I thought they were armed. And if I don't know information that contradicts that, that's a perfectly legitimate line of questioning. It would be very important. Yeah.
Sure. So again, if you did, and I think if he did see a man, you know, I went out to my front porch and I had my gun on me because I was worried, you know, that these guys might be armed. And then I hollered at them and they started pointing guns at me. They were armed.
And it turns out later it was a crowbar, but it sure looked like a pistol to me.
Yeah.
That's probably defensible.
I started shooting at them.
Yeah.
And they had guns, and those guns were still pointed at me, so I went shots at them until I knew they were gone, and one of them hit the kid. Well, that could be defensible.
It could.
That could be a justified use of deadly force.
Yes.
Now we could talk about the prudence of going out on your porch in that case.
With an AK.
With an AK.
Which, I mean, we haven't said it yet, but somebody's got to say Wolverines.
Yeah,
Right?
I mean, you know, here we go. A little Red Dawn action. Now we're talking dated pop culture reference. But then, of course, he then takes the AK and
like
takes it
or whatever.
Yeah, he runs it off property and runs it down to his buddy's house. And then when the cops show up, I mean, eventually they figure out, like, you know, they find a dude who's, you know, 14-year-old who shows up to the hospital with an AK wound with a 7.62 in him.
Yeah.
And
Probably
like
through him. Yeah.
Yeah, probably through him, but you know, whatever. Son, where did you get this wound? You know. Well, see, we were at Bible study, and what happened was.
Why is your entire left buttocks missing?
Yeah.
Well,
yeah.
yeah.
And wait, where were you? Oh, I was here. And wait, oh, that's a stolen car. And wait, where did you get shot? Well, we were stealing cars over here.
Yeah, you might, depending on where it is, you might be able to get away with concealing the fact that you have a handgun wound, but rifle wound, you're going to need emergency care. So
Well,
it's coming out.
So, and eventually they figure out, okay, this was the house they were outside of. They start knocking on doors. Hey, we're trying to figure out what happened here. And the dude goes, I'm not helping you, right? Like, you know, you guys all kick rocks and get out of my house and come back with a warrant. So guess what they did?
They do.
They came back with a warrant, you know? And then they find a pile of weed.
Still there, after the warrant's been served and issued, which is at least got to be a half hour to an hour later at best. Yeah.
I said this on the main channel narration. If you feel like, I'm not saying this is the right ethical choice, but if you feel like you need to take the gun that you just used to shoot at somebody off property, take the weed with it. I'm not saying that's the right thing to do. But
And you know what? And I'm not sure if weed is legal in Louisiana. Let's assume it is for a moment. I don't know. But above a certain level, you're held to be a weed dealer. And that's probably not going to be legal. It's certainly not legal under the federal doctrines. But the fact is that if you're in possession of a firearm that has been used illegally and in your possession of saleable amounts of narcotic, that's a huge problem. That is a much more serious felony than would normally be for either of the two charges separately. So.
And it was like, I think like 170
like a half
ounces.
pound or something, wasn't it?
It was a lot.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
it was a good bit of weed.
Yeah.
Which I don't care. I mean, you know, that weed's legal recreationally where I live, and it's fine. You know what I mean? You want to smoke. Just don't drive. Don't do stupid things. You know what I always say? I've met plenty of people that got drunk on alcohol and got mean and nasty and ugly.
Yeah.
I've never seen somebody stoned on weed
That's
that got
true.
mean.
They just want to go to sleep and eat a hamburger.
Yeah,
So,
they just want to, you know, have some Cheetos and pass out and watch TV. So more power to you. Anyhow, so as an attorney, when you hear, oh, my client took his gun off-site and hid it from the cops, what does that do for you?
You're on the downhill slope fast. That's all there is to it. I mean, liars hide evidence, murderers lie. You know, just use the extrapolation method, and you know where this is going to go. So, yeah, I mean, again, it's illegal to do that. You're hiding evidence. You're lying to the police officers. Obviously, that looks like you're concealing guilt, probably because you are most of the time. That's why it looks that way.
So the prosecutor calls that, in the legal world, whenever you want something to sound more important, you say it in Latin, right? In the whole world, right? And so they call that mens rea, the depraved mind.
Right. Or even res ipsa loquitur, the thing speaks for itself. It's like, what are you doing?
Wait, say those words again.
Res ipsa loquitur. You've heard of that before.
Res ipsa
loquitur.
loquitur. The thing speaks for itself.
it doesn't look good, right? It's not a good optic. So yeah, why are you doing that? It doesn't make sense. And and I hate to say it because it's other people's misery, right? I get a little bit of Schadenfreude here, but this kind of seems one where Darwin got it right. I mean, the drug dealer who's shooting at people who are breaking into cars in a bad neighborhood in Louisiana with an AK, he's going to get charged with some serious felony crimes. The little jerk that was going around stealing cars in the middle of the night probably lost half of his calf or lost some bone in his leg or whatever it was, which is terrible. I'm not wishing that on him, but thank God he survived. This is going to be a very expensive lesson he's going to remember for the rest of his life.
In the modern vernacular, he effed around and he found out.
Exactly.
I mean,
right?
you don't go breaking into cars and you don't have to worry about.
That's the kind of thing that can happen. So I kind of feel like, two miscreants were taught two pretty good lessons here. I know that's a very, elitist way of dealing with something like this, but I kind of feel like I'm not losing much sleep over this one. This guy's probably going to go to prison. He probably should. The kid's going to go to juvenile detention, and he probably should. The kid's going to have a limp for the rest of his life, and I wish he didn't, but he's probably going to remember what he did.
No, but he probably should. If we say stupid should hurt,
there you go.
It's going to hurt.
Exactly right. Yeah.
The libertarian in me says the weed shouldn't be a problem, frankly. The libertarian in me says the weed is not an issue, shouldn't be an issue. That's a thing, but whatever Louisiana law is, it is. But obstructing
what we believe to be right, what we wish to be right, isn't necessarily what's currently legal. So unfortunately, we're stuck with that. Yeah.
But the obstructing justice by hiding evidence, that's gonna jam you up
big time. Always. When I was growing up, my dad, the wisdom of Tom Forsey was always, if you ever get involved in shooting, at 8 years old, he would take my mom for a hamburger twice a year. That was the big date, right? He'd tell me and my 6-year-old brother, if you have to shoot somebody, you know where the shotgun is. Yes or no, the shotgun is. Make sure you drag him up on the porch before you call the sheriff. That was the gospel according to every farmer in Southern Illinois when I was growing up. That was just terrible. The doctrine. Drag him on the porch. You don't think that even under 1970s, NCIS standards, or forensic standards, that they're going to see the bloody heel marks up on the? I mean, what are you doing giving that kind of advice? It was horribly bad advice then, and it's horribly bad advice now.
Altering a crime scene is a felony almost everywhere. Destroying or removing evidence, felony almost everywhere. I had a case not too long ago of a guy who ended up shooting a guy that I think was justified defensive use of force, and then burned the body. That's going to get you sent to prison.
We talked about that case. Yeah, that's
not
a good optic either. Yeah.
He's a good guy. He was a good guy. He just made a really stupid decision there, and golly, man, and he's doing time for it. Mm-hmm. So you can't do these things. When you do those things, it puts you in the bad guy camp.
Right.
And it puts you in the camp of people who are going to end up knowing what prison food tastes like.
That's right.
It's terrible. And knowing what prison life is like. And I have only ever been to prison on the visitor's side.
Yeah, that's bad enough.
It's terrible.
It's bad enough.
I've been there as clergy. I've been there as family. And it sucks. I can't imagine having to live it every day. Mm-hmm. So don't do those things. Yep. And listen, the big thing I hope you got out of this was, as the attorney too, you can't tell him, well, I'm just going to say that I saw a gun.
Yeah.
Because if he says that, now he's suborning perjury and you're in trouble.
It's worse than that you lost a lawyer. You lost a lawyer with the stigma that everybody in the courts that matters knows you're lying about evidence. So yeah, you're going down.
And then now you just told the prosecutor that you know you're guilty.
Right.
And you just said, here's a big juicy steak. I just admitted to my attorney that I'm a liar. And, do you want to come get me? I think a lot of prosecutors are going to go, why, yes.
As a matter of fact.
As a matter of fact, I do.
I don't get paid by the hour. I get a salary, and it's more exciting prosecuting you than it is going back to my office and doing paperwork. So, yeah.
Yeah. So, hey, don't do what any of these people did, okay?
Good example of how not to handle it. Exactly, yeah.
Tim, thanks.
As always, buddy, thank you.